So let me ask you this: you guys brought in Keanu Neal. You have Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith. You drafted Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox. Micah Parsons, I'm assuming, being the 12th overall pick, the plan is for him to be on the field for a lot of snaps. Do you have any idea what that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had long discussions with Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy about, how this was going to look, and we feel really good, as you know, between Sean and Leighton and Jalen. We ended up having to use Joe Smith and some others. I mean, there's going to be, I think at the end of the day, they're going to really figure out how to utilize these guys. Micah brings a very unique skill set. He can obviously, play behind the line of scrimmage as a 4-3 backer, but he also brings some serious DPR rushing ability with his great speed and length that he brings to the table. So we're not concerned that all these guys are we're gonna need every one of them, and they're all gonna play a lot.
Last year, we talked about the good fortune of CeeDee Lamb making it to 17, and I know if I was doing simulations, I would just cancel the simulation if he made it because I was like, that's not realistic. And I think you told us that you didn't really see that happening either. This year, going into the draft, how prepared were you that the top 2 cornerbacks could be gone before you picked?
We were very prepared. We actually we spent most of the last 2 days going over what happens if these 2 corners come off the board on us. And we knew if it happened, it'd probably be late. And the other thing we discussed at length is just what it would cost to move up to ensure you got a corner. And as you know, up there in the top 10, you saw what we got for moving just 2 picks down from 10 to 12. You can imagine what it costs to go up 3 or 4 picks. And then on top of that, these teams were picking players they love. So you're going to have to pay a premium, whether it's Detroit picking the big Oregon tackle, any of those guys. And, of course, both the teams in front of us that picked corners knew what we would have been moving up for. And so, we had long discussions about if the corners go, what are we going to do here? And that's where we spent a lot of time on Micah, not to mention a couple of other players that we really felt like that we could get real comfortable with if the 2 corners went, which obviously that happened.
Well, I loved that you guys got to add a pick and still pick the guy that I think you would have wanted at number 10 overall. But my question is it Howie Roseman or whoever calls from Philadelphia? Did you make them tell you who they were going to pick, and would you feel differently if they were going up for, say, Justin Fields?
Of course it would have been. I mean, if they were – well, no, it didn't make us feel any different whether it was Justin Fields. The key was what side of the ball. And certainly we knew, we had discussions with Philly earlier in the week. And, in spite of what you heard, and maybe they were interested in moving up to get a corner too, but they were also interested in jumping the Giants to get a receiver. And we just felt like, at the end of the day that we were, either the Giants or the Eagles were going to get the receiver one way or the other. And so we didn't concern ourselves about that. And the point was, hey, we can move back, pick up a pick, and get our backers. So, we felt really good about that.
So you guys wouldn't be concerned about helping a division rival potentially get a potential franchise quarterback? You just want to make sure they weren't taking your guy?
As long as they weren't taking our guy, we weren't going to concern ourselves with that because they were probably going to get him anyway because we weren't going to take him. And then the Giants and Eagles are next, and they're going to get whatever they choose to pick.
Awesome stuff here with Stephen Jones on your home of the Cowboys. Okay, round 2, what makes you feel comfortable with Kelvin Joseph as far as the concerns about coachability or things of that nature?
We don't think it's a coachability issue. It's obviously, I think it's pretty well documented that he had, an off the field, he had some off the field stuff that we had to get comfortable with. And, we really feel like we're comfortable with it. We think as far as his football character, his competitiveness, his desire to be great is all there. And at the same time, we feel good that he's got his off the field under control. One of the big things we look at when we look at a player is, how they conduct themselves after they have an incident. And in this particular case, and other cases where we've drafted people, we feel like they're up and they're getting their hands around it. You got to remember when some of these kids make mistakes, and our kids at the time, they're probably teenagers, some of them, and as long as they learn from it and they mature and you feel like they're heading in the right direction, then, you've got to make a call there. And we've certainly done that both ways. We make calls where we said, hey, we don't feel good about it. We've made calls where we do feel good about it. Obviously, we've had a history with it. We've got a great player on our team, Randy Gregory, who we have so much respect for, such a good young man who obviously has struggles off the field as well. But he continues to work to do better in those areas, and we have nothing but the utmost respect for him.
You guys picked 11 guys in this draft, which is awesome. If you had to make a wild guess right now, could you make a wild guess on how many could make the roster?
I think all 11 could make it. It's a stretch, but they could. And certainly we've got a scenario where all 11 step up and make our football team. And, that would be, so welcome with our salary cap situation. Obviously we're paying some really, really good football players a lot of money. And it's, well-deserved by those players who are getting the money. But in order to function under a salary cap, then you've obviously got to hit on your draft. And we had long discussions, and, we had some opportunities to maybe make that 11 picks, 9 picks, 10 picks, 8 picks. And, maybe could have moved some picks up. But we really felt good about our board, really felt if we hung in there and took the players that we felt were quality players, that we could really improve our football team and also help our salary cap situation.